Hello dear one, welcome to Movie Recaps World. We value every minute spent with us. If you enjoy what we do here, like the video for others to see. Turn on the notification bell to see more. Thank you. As a disclaimer, this video includes commentary and analysis. This is not a substitute for the film itself. Today we take a look at the 2013 to 2015 American drama, mystery, and sci-fi TV series named Under the Dome. Spoilers ahead, take care and watch out. The plot of this narrative revolves around Chester's Mill, a suburban community. It appears to be a typical place at first, but what occurs next will startle this sleepy rural town. Barbie, a non-local, is first presented to us in the opening scene. He is burying a man's corpse in the woods. Although the motive of the murder is not known, Barbie's bruised forehead indicates that he engaged in combat with the deceased. Barbie is leaving the town in the afternoon. He becomes anxious upon seeing the sheriff's car, which causes him to deviate even more. He looked away from the road. Several cows obstruct his path after he eventually loses the policeman. Barbie veers off the road and crashes into a field full of cows. Even if his car spins out, he is unharmed. A short while afterwards, the town is shaken by an earthquake. As the ground severely trembles, the people freeze in shock. Then something suddenly falls from the sky in front of Barbie, and everything stops. Whatever it was that came from the sky slices a cow in half, and the cow falls to the ground. When Barbie looks into it, she finds that it is an invisible wall. The houses it touched were even cut by how sharp it was. To check on Barbie, a young man by the name of Joe comes. He is equally as shocked by the odd phantom wall. The sheriff and Deputy Linda are then told that the town's whole power supply has been switched off. Both the internet and the phone lines are inoperable. It appears as though all satellite connections were dropped at once. The unseen wall is then struck by an airplane flying overhead, confirming that it is a dome and not simply a wall. The next explosion sends everyone into a frenzy. From the opposite side of the dome, a fire vehicle approaches, but Barbie saves it from colliding. Police show up and launch an inquiry. They don't grasp the wall's presence, though. Big Jim, the town councilman, also shows up at the same moment but is equally perplexed as the others. Every road leading to the town, it is revealed to the group, is shut down, which is contributing to a number of accidents. They will need to quickly broadcast an emergency announcement in order to further prevent such accidents. Also, a group of 3 mothers, Carolyn, Alice, and Nori, are in town on business. They have no idea that the dome is engulfing the town and intend to depart as soon as possible. One morning, a woman calls Julia, an investigative reporter, to report suspicious activity. This week, the woman witnessed the delivery of 6 propane tanks to the town reserve. She believes that the stock is being gathered for a secret reason because there is too much of it for fuel. When Julia pledges to look into the situation, she has doubts. When Barbie first meets Angie, they chat over cigarettes. When Junior sees them together, he gets envious. His love for Angie has evolved into an obsession over time, and he feels something inside when he sees her with another man. The military is now manning the town's perimeter. No one has the answers, but a number of scientists and experts are attempting to determine what could have caused the peculiar phenomena. Big Jim encounters the sheriff a few hours later and inquires about the gas. They discuss everything they have in general terms. They must know something about the dome in order to save the town, but they choose to keep their knowledge to themselves. Barbie doesn't have a place to stay and was just supposed to be here for a day. Junior visits him at night and strikes up a chat that finally escalates to a threat. Barbie is perplexed about what went wrong, but the discussion is cut short when Julia gets involved elsewhere, where the teens are partying while disregarding the emergency. Joe encounters a man his age, and the two discuss the circumstances. He suddenly experiences a seizure and speaks about the pink stars. His sister Angie is in her home when Junior bursts in and abducts her, just like Nori did earlier. He leads her to his father's old fallout shelter and claims to know what's going on. His father, Big Jim, is then made known. He erected the shelter since he was constantly worried about her safety. Julia invites Barbie to stay the night at her home in the interim. Up until he notices the photo of her husband and realizes it is the man he killed that morning, everything is going according to plan. The sheriff's pacemaker malfunctions when he and Linda are on patrol, killing him. Barbie was in the town that morning, as shown by a flashback, to meet Julia's husband and discuss a possible payment. Due to the doctor's refusal to pay, a brawl broke out, and Barbie unintentionally shot the man dead. He was aware that he would be found guilty despite the fact that it was merely an accident. Barbie disposed of the body to avoid it. The next morning, he discovers that. He notices that his necklace is missing and queries Julia. Barbie understands he left it in the cabin where he killed her husband, despite her assurances that she will keep an eye out for it. Two police officers are running to the sheriff from another location, but the man is already dead. He is in Linda's arms while she sobs. Ben, Joe's friend, assisted him when he had a seizure the night before and is now with him. Ben inquires as to what he meant by the pink star, but Joe is unable to recall saying anything prior to his fall. Dowdy is able to communicate with those living outside the dome at the radio station. She can hear the soldiers conversing with one another via a unique device, but she is unable to speak with them. Even the soldiers are still unsure of what the invisible object is at this point. Big Jim is eating breakfast at the local diner when Linda shows up and tells him the sheriff has passed away. They hurried over to Lester, the local mortician. Right away, Angie makes every effort to make a call inside the bunker, but she is unsuccessful. Junior ties her to a bed when he gets there. He believes that the rejection of Angie and the appearance of the dome are connected in some way, and when the dome disappears, she will revert to her previous state. The remark alone demonstrates his mental health problems. Lester, the mortician, used to be friends with the sheriff and is horrified to learn of his passing. He and Big Jim, however, make a revelation about the propane import that took place last month when Linda isn't present. They were keeping a secret from the town, along with the sheriff. It's wonderful news that the sheriff's passing assures he won't inform anyone of their involvement. They witness Big Jim searching at the sheriff's office when Linda enters the police station later that day. When questioned, Jim replies that he came to look at his will, and Linda accepts his account. He was actually looking for documents related to the propane import that may have gotten him into trouble in Lester. He orders Lester to collect the papers from somewhere else since he believes they are in the sheriff's residence. When Julia visits the radio tower, she learns that they have devised a way to listen in on the soldiers speaking outside the dome. Attempts to dig beneath the dome have been made, but to no avail. Julia broadcasts the news to the town through the radio. People become unreasonable as a result of the knowledge, which makes them panicky. Near the border, Joe and Ben are observing scientists performing their duties outside. They are investigating whether water has any impact on the dome. They don't come to any firm conclusions, but Joe learns that the dome functions as a very dense filter. Barbie visits the lodge later that day in search of his jewelry. He discovers it, but Junior promptly purchased him after he confronts him for having an affair with Angie. Barbie realizes the man is insane, but she is unable to convince him to go. When they battle, Barbie easily defeats the other person. Lester then enters the sheriff's residence to search for the paperwork pertaining to the import of propane. The plot backfires as the flames spread and take over the entire house after he finds them behind a drawer and sets them on fire. Soon, a large number of people assemble around the home to battle the blaze without the aid of a fire rock. It's practically impossible. The temperature inside the dome will rise and finally kill everyone if they let the house burn down. Barbie guides the group of people as they work together to carry water to the home. Lester calls out, and Linda enters to help him. Before giving him to the paramedics, she drags him out of the area. Even after an hour of attempting to put out the fire, it continues to grow. When the worn-out civilians gather up, Jim arrives with a loader and finally puts a stop to the uproar. Paul, one of the police officers, goes insane. He asserts that they will never be able to escape this predicament and expresses concern that they will soon begin killing one another. He fires a shot into the air, and it hits another cop after returning from the dome. Paul gets arrested shortly after he passes away. Joe skates with his mates once it becomes dark. Nori approaches him asking for a phone charge. He takes her to one of the locations with a generator, his house. Linda transports Paul to the jail in the midst of the throng. Protesters protest outside the station and denounce the police system. Jim asks them to support one another in times of need in order to calm them down. Paul is locked and suffers a heart arrest. Linda rushes over to him right away only to discover that he is lying. He seizes the opportunity to push her aside and flee. Junior visits Angie once more after securing her in the bunker. She has understood that she must use deception to persuade him to release her. She then tells him about the abandoned tunnel they used to play in as children. They may be able to exit the tunnel if the dome doesn't function there. Junior wants to travel to the tunnel alone, and Angie is hoping that he would release her now that she is assisting him. When Jim visits the police station, Linda is in custody rather than Paul. When he lets her out, they see that Paul is still alive and has a rifle and ammunition. Knowing that the criminal must be in the forest, where he frequently goes hunting, Linda starts looking for him right away. Jim puts together a search party in the interim. At the diner, Carolyn is distressed for Nori. Without alerting her mothers, she spent the night at Joe's. When Jim enters the restaurant, he invites customers to join the search for Paul. Since he was a competent leader, he also forces Barbie to join them. While the home was ablaze. Once there, Barbie demonstrates his skills and discloses that he formerly served in the military. Julia catches sight of Junior as he is heading down the tunnel. He answers her cautiously when she inquires about his intended destination for the rucksack, which makes her wary. After following him, she arrives at the tunnel. Breakfast is being consumed by Joe and Nori at Joe's home. Being alone with a girl for the first time makes him anxious. Nori, on the other hand, exudes self-assurance and wit. Ben invites two more girls in to charge their phones while they converse. He is unaware that the generator is a valuable resource and wants to exploit it to impress them. Joe has to let them in against his will. The search group encounters Paul in the woods, who shoots a man in the leg. Jim and Barbie follow Paul in the tunnels as one guy stays behind to take care of him. When Junior reaches the very end, he discovers that the dome also passes through it. His flashlight glows like the sheriff's pacemaker when he comes too close to the wall. He is angry that Julia followed him when she came out to warn him. Until Julia intervenes, Junior loses his head and begins pounding the phantom wall. They take a seat to chat and take a short break. Julia explains to him that due to a prior error, she is stuck in her miserable position as a journalist. Junior explains that Barbie is to blame for his bruises as they converse. Making it seem as though Barbie hit the man without cause, he begs to keep distance from the man. Joe's home is currently crowded with guests using his electronics. Bullies try to force others to pay for electricity that they don't even possess. The discussion becomes heated when no one objects to him and when he doesn't take matters into his own hands, but the lights go out before anything happens. Nori is grateful that Joe defended her. In the meantime, Barbie and Jim bump into their target in the woods but are unable to move because Paul is holding his weapon as well. When Linda arrives from behind and shoots him at Joe's house, he is just seconds away from killing Jim. As Carolyn enters, she exhorts her daughter to behave more responsibly. When Joe and Nori touch hands, unusual sparks fly between them, causing them both to have a seizure. Once more, they sing aloud about pink stars falling in a line within the bunker. The next time Junior sees Angie, he brings a first aid kit. She assists him in tending to the injuries on his knuckles while also concealing a pair of scissors. In the final scene, Julia and Barbie are at home exhausted from a long day. After hearing what Junior told her, Julia has begun to doubt him. She searches through his possessions as he is in the shower. In the woods, Joe and Angie had no idea what they were doing. Unintentionally, they came onto a raised haystack. When Angie stretched out, her back was immediately electrified. They could have pulled the weeds without hesitation. Then they gave it a water rinse. In front of them, a tiny dome materialized. A black egg was also present. Angie believed that the black egg was in charge of the town's dome from inside. Then she addressed it by saying, "Hello, who are you speaking to?" They clasped their hands together on top when they realized the black egg was not responding. Then an odd scene took place. Angie looked directly at her mum. The mother had vanished once more as they took their hands away. She had a sneaking suspicion that this was a warning, so she immediately ran home. Indeed, there was a problem. A heart attack struck her mother. It didn't take long because there wasn't much medical care in the town. Angela came to Dome in pain for her mother to pass away. She often inquired about his plans. The next day, little Dome showed up in their home storage room. At that same moment, the black egg in the woods had begun to respond. An odd little black egg, that's what it was. At the same time, 3 individuals touched it. It then suddenly released a brilliant blue glow. Then the 4th blank palm print appeared. After that, they made another small friend. It's great now. Similar to a fingerprint lock is little Dome. The pink light side swiftly accumulated as soon as the 4th palm was placed on it. The light abruptly went out. The tiny dark egg then suddenly began to emit innumerable tiny stars. Although it has a lovely appearance, it did not provide any solutions. A butterfly emerged from the little dome the following day. It strained to get past the obstruction. Black stains started to show up when it impacted the dome. They were unable to release it. The butterfly was tortured for a while but made no comment. The outside of the dome also turned dark at that moment. The entire dome was progressively coated in black spots. Fear spread quickly due to the tense and uncomfortable environment. Caused the interior to become below freezing. The entire town was cast into darkness in the span of a single glance. Maybe the true end had arrived. To pray, everyone gathered inside the church. They believed that they needed to remove the butterfly. For palm prints were now visible coming from the little, black dome. Each person interlocked their palms. Without giving it any thought. In the beginning, the dome released a brilliant, dazzling white light. Then, he disintegrated. Thankfully, the butterfly within began to move, but it took only 3 seconds for everyone to smile. The black egg looked strange. It swayed and glowed brightly as if it were about to burst. The air raid shelter was on the verge of failing. Everyone was prepared to flee. Nevertheless, Dale's girlfriend, who had no fear of dying, took it. Unexpectedly, the earthquake did indeed halt. Her surroundings include even the woken butterflies. The little dome did not display any helpful information as a result of the numerous touches. They seized the black egg, returned to the original woods, where they all saw the picture of Angie's mother, as was to be expected. Nonetheless, she claimed to be an alien. She adopted her family features in order to communicate. Their humanity is put to the test in the domain town. Just submerge the black egg in the water. Dale's girlfriend threw it into the middle of the lake because the town dome is about to open. The pink stars inside the black egg sprang out of the water in the following instant. They ascended gradually with the light, resembling departing shooting stars. The town's residents likewise witnessed this enchanted occurrence. They finally congregated on top of the dome. The night's blackness was replaced by light, but the dome remained. The movie ends. Imagine yourself in this situation, what would you do? Subscribe and comment if you like this video. To watch more of such amazing videos, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to join the community. Check out some more videos on the channel. See you in our next recap. Thanks for watching.